the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners to order. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners was provided in the following manner. Published in the press of Atlantic City, mailed to the Current and the Hamilton Gazette, and has been posted on the bulletin boards in the county office building in Atlantic City, the Stillwater building in Northfield, and the county clerk's office in Mays Landing. The opening prayer, please.
Our Heavenly Father, we give thanks for the light of another day, for the work we have to do, and the strength to do it. Guide us by thy light, uphold us by thy power, and sustain us with thy love. Amen.
Amen. Please rise for the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Chairman, Commissioner Gatto is attending virtually today.
Very good.
Ballas?
Here.
Bertino?
Here.
Corsi?
Present.
Days?
Here.
Fitzpatrick? Here. Gatto?
Here.
Kern?
Here.
Parker?
Here.
Risley?
Here. First thing we must do is to adopt the minutes of May 16th. I'll entertain a motion to do so.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Bertino. Any discussion on the minutes?
Chairman, make a motion.
It's already been made. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ballas? Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Anyone in person who would like to speak during public comments, please come to the podium, state your name and the town you reside in. You will be provided up to 3 minutes to speak. If you are attending virtually, please type yes and the resolution number in the question and answer box. Any items not listed on the agenda you may speak to during public comments. You will be called upon to speak and a request to unmute will be sent. Please state your name and the town you reside in. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. The first thing we have today is we're very lucky to have our county prosecutor here today, and he's going to give a presentation. Mr. Reynolds,
Thank you.
thank you for being here.
Appreciate it, Chairman. We have Director Delgado here. He's from the State Police Chiefs Association. Last year, during the beginning of our administration, we reapplied for reaccreditation. We were very fortunate. We have an agent in the office, Mark Hooker, who's here with us today. He was the quarterback from our organization to get this reaccreditation done. Why it's important is it causes us to take a look in the mirror long and hard as to what we do, what our policies and procedures are. There is audits and inspections and meetings, and it is completely voluntary. And one of the reasons why we chose to do it with our leadership team, who's all here with me today, Chief Snyder, First Assistant Bergman, Executive Assistant McKelvey, Chief Counsel John Flammer, and Agent Cooker, who was the one who was the quarterback of this. We looked at ourselves in the mirror and said, if we're truly going to build trust with the community, and obviously with the county, who's our funding source, and the local police departments who we serve, who are consumers in addition to the citizens, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it even though it was hard, it was long, it was arduous, and sometimes you have to look yourself in the mirror. So without further ado, I'd ask that Director Delgado come up and he can give a brief introduction of his organization and what we did to get here, and then after we're done with this, I have a couple things I want to share with the Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor.
Welcome.
I'd like to say a few words if you indulge me for a couple of seconds, because the achievement is certainly significant. But I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the fact that Prosecutor Reynolds made it a point of appearing in front of the New Jersey Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission on a day where he happened to be very busy. But he made it the first order of business to make sure that he represented the agency, and that was certainly something that impressed everyone else at the Commission. So the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office has made a commitment to adhering to best practices at the state and national level in a highly regarded statewide law enforcement accreditation program administered through the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. This program is administered by the Chiefs of Police, has helped to transparently demonstrate the professionalism and preparedness of state's law enforcement agencies. The New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police Law Enforcement Accreditation Program is purposefully designed to enhance the professionalism and transparency in the state's public safety system. During these uniquely challenging times and the threat to our health and safety, encouraging law enforcement agencies to follow standardized practices and policies is a potentially life-saving and cost-effective investment of time and resources. Accreditation gives an agency a preparedness plan and a verification of excellence. Accreditation status represents a significant professional achievement. It is a process, as the prosecutor just mentioned, it takes 3 years. It provides objective evidence of an agency's commitment to excellence in leadership, resource management, and service delivery. It gives the prosecutor and his staff a proven management system of written directives, sound training, and clearly defined lines of authority, and routine reports that support decision-making and resource allocation. So in effect, it makes an agency efficient, or even more efficient. Members in accredited agencies, that we have many here today, can take pride that they have been objectively recognized for their professionalism and adherence to the highest standards. I want to say that after the end of the rigorous process, we actually have an on-site visit where the agency must show proof to over 112 standards, many of which require various points of compliance. So out of the report that is forwarded to me that I review and meeting certain criteria certainly is forwarded to commissions, I'd just like to paraphrase some of the points that were cited as exemplary in terms of the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office. The Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office has shown exemplary performance in community policing and engagement. The agency has partnered with several other public and private entities to conduct outreach initiatives in Atlantic City to service homeless individuals staying on and under the boardwalk, as well as individuals living in casino parking garages. Agency personnel work in groups to connect with people to assist them in receiving detoxification and rehabilitation services, medical attention, and housing assistance. Recently, the office has also worked with various community groups, including the Coalition for a Safe Community, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the Puerto Rican Action Committee, the Atlantic County Clergy Leaders, the Atlantic County Educational Community, and of course, the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners to make Atlantic County a better place to live. Under the leadership of Prosecutor Reynolds, a high level of competence, leadership, and professionalism is evident within the agency. Leadership, rank and file, are forward-thinking and engaged in self-improvement. So it is the opinion, certainly I concur with the assessment team, that the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office is a highly professional and committed agency which exemplifies all of the tenets of law enforcement accreditation. Therefore, indeed my honor here today, on behalf of the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police and the New Jersey Law Enforcement Accreditation Commission, congratulate Prosecutor William E. Reynolds, the Accreditation Manager, Agent Mark Coker, the members and staff of the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office, the commissioners, and those law enforcement agencies and citizens that they so proudly serve for having achieved reaccreditation. I must say that there's about 300 agencies that have made it to the first passage of accreditation. Now, to make it further than that, certainly becomes an elite group of agencies that have made that commitment and have actually kept it. So in this case, I'd like to recognize Chief Reynolds, Mark Coker, his staff, for having made this important commitment to excellence in policing. So indeed, congratulations to all. I'd like to present you with the plaque. This is typical when people clap.
Mr. Agent Coker as well. Come on, guys.
Absolutely. It's all yours.
Yep. Awesome. So, one thing that I want to make really clear to the commission is Agent Coker, who, there we go. Thank you. Agent Coker was integral in getting this done. I started last June, ironically, exactly 1 year today. Started the Monday after the first weekend of June, literally June 6th of last year. One of the things that came on our radar was this reaccreditation process, and it would have been really easy to say, we don't have to do that because we're new and we just started. And with the assistance and hard work and dedication of Agent Coker, and a lot of direction from Chief Snyder and the leadership team that's here, we decided that we were going to go all in and do that because we needed to show everyone, internally and externally, that there was a re-engagement and a basis for trust and confidence in the prosecutor's office. So thank Director Delgado, appreciate the kind words. The site inspection actually happened on a day where we did boardwalk outreach, and I was not dressed in a suit, and I got to sat down with the inspectors, and what was going to be a 5-minute conversation turned into like a 2-hour conversation, and Agent Cooker, I think, had to pull me out of the room so they could finish their work for the day. But it shows volumes as to this agency and the dedication and commitment from all the people that we're all within the agency, and we just really appreciate the opportunity to come before all of you and show exactly what that process was, and to thank Director Delgado, because they were very, very understanding, because we needed an extension on some things, and there was a lot of work that was done to get here. This was not a cursory review. It was an extremely long, arduous path that I think needed to be done. So with all that, thank you. I appreciate it, and I wanted to add a few things that was unrelated to accreditation, and I actually brought a single page, which is essentially a summary of our first year that I wanted to share with not only Mr. Ferguson, but Mr. Del Rosso and everybody on the commission. This is,
Can we give it to them?
yeah, sure.
Whoever's easiest for you.
Perfect. Thank you. You got it? So, I created this last Friday for the express purpose of coming here because of the accreditation. And one of the things that I realized when I was reviewing for the accreditation was how significant and important the partnership with the county was. So I'm giving everyone a challenge coin, which has the prosecutor logo on the front and the county logo on the back. And I'm going to
Why couldn't that be reversed?
I'm going to, either way. And yes, exactly. And as well to Mr. Delgado. Thank you so much, Director. Yep. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about the challenge coin and why it's so significant and what it symbolizes. So First Assistant Prosecutor Bergman and I, we're talking about a challenge coin. I did not know that I needed to get a challenge coin. I was not aware of the significance of the challenge coin, but we had to go to the County Prosecutor's College, where every single county prosecutor's office appears. And what they do is they put each one of these on a plaque and gives each county prosecutor a plaque with everyone else's challenge coin on it. So I sat down with First Assistant Prosecutor Bergman and I said, hey, this is all new to me. I have no idea the significance or why we're doing this, and can you explain it to me? So he explained it to me, and one of the things that we decided, and after Eric designed it, I understood everything from a perspective of our discussion. So most other county prosecutors put their names on the challenge coin. We chose not to. It's not about Bill Reynolds or Eric Bergman or Pat Snyder. It's about the organization. We decided to put that shield, which is our logo, which is the pin that we're all wearing. I'm a big team guy. I've coached my whole life, right? We believe in building teams. That's not about a single individual. So this has become our logo. I wear it on just about everything all the time. It's become like a tattoo on me because I really feel it represents the organization. And the reason why the county symbol is on the back is because you're our partner and you're our funding source and you're our oversight and our guidance. And it's one of the things that Mr. Ferguson and Mr. Del Rosso and I have forged a great relationship and a partnership in running the organization in the most efficient and fair and impartial way. And the coin itself, I think, symbolizes all of that. And it was one of the things that we wanted to be able to clearly communicate with all of you, because we are responsible to the citizens and all of you as being a county agency, and we realize how important building that public trust is, and we need to do it together. So the coin is symbolic of that. I wanted to give everyone one so you had it, to remind you that we are your partners and we appreciate the partnership. I'm only going to hit a couple of things that are, I think, significant on the one page that I handed out. And I bolded a few things that I'm going to talk about from a perspective of the agency and building a team. Every single leader that's been picked in the agency came from within the agency. I'm not sure how or what or anybody knows about it. A lot of other prosecutors come in and bring in their own people. I chose to not bring in anyone from the outside because I wanted to get buy-in from all the people inside the agency. I have a very good relationship with the leaders that are here, and they all had anywhere from 10 to 20 plus years of agency and institutional knowledge, and I wanted to utilize that knowledge, and I wanted to empower the leaders that existed, and we're able to accomplish all this with people that were in the office and ultimately build a team and made it inclusive of everyone in the office to give them opportunities to take ownership of the agency. And it's been a very humbling 12 months since we've been in. We've added 27 employees, 13 were assistant prosecutors. I can tell you that every other county in the state of New Jersey is negative on APs during the same period of time, and we are positive APs because we're building a culture that people want to come work for. In that same token, and we'll be talking about this in the future, we are the lowest paid assistant prosecutors in the state of New Jersey. So that's something that we're probably going to have to address down the line, but we'll leave that for another day. With respect to budget, and Jerry smiled, with respect to budget, I can think Jerry would agree that we've been fiscally responsible. We come under budget. We stagger our hirings, and that we've done a great job of communicating with the county and being cognizant of everything that needs to be done from a management perspective. We're able to assist in settling the 2 contracts that are coming up right now, the clerks and the agents. Again, a great partnership between the county and our office. One of those contracts was idle for 4 years. So we sat down and met with every employee. Mr. Bergman and I actually had listening sessions with every single employee, and we listened to them and got feedback to how do we make the agency better. That's part of the employee engagement, and we basically sat down and said, give us 3 ideas of how we can make this place better. And we sat down with every single employee, and then again in April we sat down with every new employee that started after we began. Director Delgado mentioned the community outreach. We had over 260 now meaningful engagements. Commissioner Ballas actually said to me in an earlier meeting, hey, you know, the ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, when we talked about the elder fraud and the internet and social media awareness, and then we just did drunk driving, distracted driving in every high school. We've done over 260 outreach events. The motivation behind the outreach events is not to go out and shake people's hands. It's about to have and build those relationships on blue sky days when there are no crises, there are no problems, so when a crisis does come, we can pick up the phone. 2 of the gentlemen who've been integrally involved in the success of that is Councilman Shabazz from Atlantic City and Perry Mays from the Coalition, which Director Delgado had mentioned. They've been integral, and we actually awarded both of those gentlemen an Outstanding Community Partnership Award. They were the only 2 that we awarded in year 1 of our administration. Chief Snyder put Captain Finan on the case to deal with ACPD and technology. We basically repaired a disconnect for Discovery, a problem that has existed over the period of time, probably forever. And we were able to connect technology and us be able to get, because AC is our biggest feeder from a case perspective and the volume. So under the leadership of Chief Snyder with Captain Finan and Chief Sarkis, we connected the prosecutor's office with ACPD, and we have 0 backlog on Discovery, including videos, and really a testament to true progressive leadership in identifying problems and blind spots. First Assistant Bergman and Executive Assistant McKelvey have addressed on the prosecution side. We've created a mental health pilot program with Judge Blee. When I stood up publicly and started speaking about it, other county prosecutors were like, what are you guys doing? Why are you talking about this? Why are you doing this? So we've created a mental health pilot that's coming online right now, and we've done crisis intervention training, veterans response training. We held the first statewide veterans response training here in Atlantic City at Caesars with Security Director Mike Kane. All of these things over and above what a primary mission is, but it's building, you know, the relationships and understanding the needs of the public. One of the other things that we did that I'm extremely proud of is that we were involved in the community outreach for the boardwalk, as Director Delgado spoke about, as well as the streetlights in Atlantic City. A little bit outside of our lane, but we got engaged and we declared a public safety state of emergency using 2 separate homicides, one with lights on, one without lights. We're able to get CREDA to to allocate over $1 million and over 1,000 lights were repaired, which basically helps from a perspective of public safety and solving crime. And then in addition, we've forged a great relationship through the City of Atlantic City with the Department of Community Affairs. Mike Callahan is the Director of Homeless Prevention. I'm in contact with him all the time. We've reduced the homeless count in Atlantic City. Last June was 501. In February it was 114. In May 1st it was 235. Chief Snyder and I went to Newark, New Jersey with Director Jared Barnes from the city, and we inspected what Newark's doing, because Newark has reduced their homeless population significantly under the leadership of Mayor Brock, and we met with them and had a tour of what they're doing, and we're doing that together with all the social services providers and Hope One and obviously the City of Atlantic City. With respect to our primary function, again, really proud of the leadership of First Assistant Bergman. We are first in the state in detentions. I say that from a perspective of using percentages. State average for first quarter of 23, 17%. We were at 47%. For the year of 2022, state average was 20%. We were at 49.9%. The reason why we're successful is because the cases are screened when they first arrive at the office. We charge appropriately, and we move for detention when appropriate. So we're not trying to detain every single person, but those cases are being screened. The process has been streamlined. We've been successful with the assistance of the Detective Division to do intelligence on each of the defendants, and we were first in the state in gang criminality, and those people who are the most threats to public safety are being detained by our judges. So we are at, pushing 50%, and the rest of the state is 20% or less. And our 50% is going into that statewide average. So extremely, extremely proud of that. With respect to violent crime, 10 years ago, there was 30 homicides in Atlantic County. 5 years ago, there was 22 homicides. Last year, there was 14. This year, we're at 2. Looking at investigation of those homicides under leadership of Chief Snyder, last year, countywide clearance rate, 93%. City of Atlantic City clearance rate 100%. Again, first in the state. All of these things that we've done, whether it's community outreach, whether it's detention, whether it's prosecution, whether it's investigation, all of these things first in the state. The Attorney General was down last Thursday for a walk through Stanley Homes. I saw Chief, I'm going to call you Chief of Staff or Commissioner Coursey. Saw him standing in Browns Park, and the Attorney General stood up in front of few hundred people and said Atlantic County is a model for the rest of the state. And I stood up after him and said, he's right, we are a model for the rest of the state. Appreciate the kind words, and then went into why we're a model. One of the things that has occurred during the first year of our administration is we have built a team, not just with the prosecutor's office, with the local police departments, the faith leaders. We had the first ever interfaith luncheon out at ACC where we had all the law enforcement leaders with faith leaders there on another blue sky day. So with all that being said, I wanted to share all of that with you, share that it is a team. It is a lot of people rowing in the same direction. I'm humbled to be the leader of the team. I'm humbled to be here before you. It's been a year. It feels like it's been about 10 years, and I'm looking forward to keep doing it. We have to hold ourselves accountable. We're not going to be complacent. We're going to keep working hard, and I have to tell you, there was a lot of really good people in that office before I arrived, and now they're getting opportunities to shine and work hard and make us proud, and I'm really honored to be the leader of the organization. I thank all of you for your partnership, because it truly is a partnership. Mr. Del Rosso and Mr. Ferguson have been incredible to deal with from a management standpoint. Prime example, Jim and Liz came over and trained all of our supervisors to do meaningful employee reviews and how to lead and how to manage people, all things that are going to preclude us from being subject to liability or lawsuits later, right? Doing meaningful annual reviews, and the leadership that's been there is now engaged, trained, and we're having a lot of fun, to be honest with you. So just wanted to say thank you, highlight the things that we're doing, appreciate the partnership, and look forward to many more successful years like this one. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Before I say a few words, but I know my colleagues like to say a few words. Just Mr. Patino.
Just one quick question, I didn't get a chance. The accreditation, how long's the term for that?
3 years.
3 years?
3 years.
Okay. They usually have a term limit and stuff. before you do.
Yeah.
That was it.
I would just like to highlight and appreciate the fact that you highlighted the importance of the partnership between the county departments and the county commissioners and the administration. We're not working together cohesively as a team, that it just makes things tougher all around the board, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Anyone? Commissioner Powell?
Yes. Yes, as somebody who has been through accreditation with an agency who had basically outdated for 15 years policies, procedures, and everything, you guys make it sound like it's so easy, because you have a great leader in Mark, and a lot goes into that, hours and hours and hours, and you really have to have the buy-in of your employees to make it work. And to not only have it, but then to come in and say, okay, we're going to do the reaccreditation. We put ourselves through this misery, and we're going to do it all over again. You know, it says a lot for your agency. You know, I did it with the sheriff's office, and they chose to say, we don't need that. You know, which to me isn't a good idea, but it's, you know, not my agency. For you guys to go through that, and you know, just looking at this brief highlight that you put here, and I know there's thousands of other things that your office and you have done. Doing an incredible job. Hopefully, 6 months from now, we'll still only have 2 homicides here in Atlantic County.
Amen.
Because it really takes, you know, the partnership of law enforcement and the community and the faith leaders to, you know, to make it work. You know, and you look at some things that happen, it only takes one incident, you know, to have, you know,
Multiple.
to have, you know, the county go off the hook with riots, and it doesn't even have to happen in your county. You know, it could happen in Pennsylvania or Ohio or wherever, and next thing you know, we're having situations with rioting and protests and stuff in our county. But when you have that relationship between law enforcement and the community, you know, that kind of stuff doesn't really happen. Or if it happens, it's people coming in from the outside, and then our residents saying, no, not here. So keep up the great work. We're really proud of you guys.
Appreciate it. The only other thing I forgot to add, and you know, obviously our primary function, we have 10 straight guilty verdicts in 2018. Since January of 18 in the year of 2023. So from January 18th to today, 10 straight. The last guilty verdict was today, right? And they're serious cases. They were homicides, home invasions, aggravated assault. One was stalking our former municipal court judge, Mark Nemad. Some really serious cases, first-degree crimes, where people are going to go to state prison for a long time. And the verdict that came in today was a gentleman who's probably going to spend the rest of his life in state prison. He belongs there, quite frankly. So 10 straight jury verdicts, extremely proud of that as well, and that's a team effort from a lot of people involved. So thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
I certainly thank you for being here. I certainly, on behalf of the board, say congratulations on reaccreditation. And as a member that's been here 23 years, we have never seen the kind of relationship with the prosecutor's office as we have today. And that's because of your leadership.
Appreciate it.
And we appreciate that. You know, we get lots of questions from people. We run into people in supermarkets, Wawa's, whatever, about different topics. A lot of it's about public safety. And that's where you come in. And you're doing a wonderful job. You're keeping us updated. And it's appreciated. That's what I wanted to convey more than anything else. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
first of all, I was going to commend you for all that you've done. I would take that back because that is the shortest speech I've ever heard. Good job. Good update.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Reynolds reminds me of a politician. He's just an unelected politician, right? He hasn't seen the camera on the mic. He doesn't like that. That's the shortest speech I've ever heard him give.
I appreciate
but
it.
It was an outstanding update. Keep up the work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Thank you, I appreciate
Now,
that.
as a reporter, you have to stay for the meeting.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Thanks, everyone. Nice meeting you.
Good to see you, pal. Take care. Yep.
Thank you, Carrie.
Congratulations. Mark, keep making them look good for grades, right? There you go. Does he have to hang it up too?
Okay, moving on with our agenda, we have an ordinance on second reading.
Ordinance to vacate 2 existing declarations of covenants and restrictions for property identified on Egg Harbor Township tax maps as Block 2203, lots 4 through 10 and 24 through 27, Atlantic County, final reading.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? This was drainage ditches, I believe. Any other discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Nobody from the top?
I'm sorry. Any public comment on ordinance number 4? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Moving into resolutions, grants number 281, please.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Health for the Right to Know fiscal year 2024 grant funding, amount not to exceed $10,544.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Any discussion? Any public comment on 281? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 282.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Health for the Childhood Lead Exposure Prevention Project grant, amount not to exceed $207,000.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 283.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Human Services, Division of Family Development for the Title IV-D Child Support Enforcement Program utilized by the Law Department and the Sheriff's Office, amount not to exceed $629,623.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Ballas, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 284.
Amending Resolution Number 330 adopted on June 21st, 2022, a grant from the New Jersey Transit for the Senior Citizens and Disabled Residents Transportation Assistance Program to accept their revised funding amount not to exceed $872,558.96.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Days. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 285.
Amending Resolution Number 702 adopted on December 20th, 2022, a grant from the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the fiscal year 23 Local Bridge Fund Program to remove the Overflow Bridge EHC 7 project and replace it with the Bungalow Park Bridge EHC 8 in Egg Harbor City, no additional cost.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Bertino. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 286.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the Universal Service Fund CWA Administration Program, amount not to exceed $11,207.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Hearing none, any public comment on 286? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Yes. Commissioner Ballas?
Can we take a 1 minute timeout here to help them get that, so it's squared away?
Is
so
there a
so
problem?
our- Yeah, trying to
It's
unshare
just our
that.
view. It's just our view in here.
Is it going out the right way?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as people aren't seeing that.
You're seeing both.
We're okay? All right. We're going to please read 287 and
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the Low Income Heating and Energy Assistance Program, CWA Administration Program, amount not to exceed $16,810.
moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Day, second by Commissioner Bertino. Discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 288.
Grant application and acceptance from the United States Department of Justice through the Pennsylvania Attorney General's Office for the Liberty Mid-Atlantic High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Areas Task Force funding, amount not to exceed $177,000.
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Bertino. Discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 289.
Grant application and acceptance from the New Jersey Department of Military and Veterans Affairs for the Veterans Transportation Assistance Program, amount not to exceed $17,000.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Ballas, second by Commissioner Parker. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 290.
Grant application and acceptance from the United States Department of Justice through the New Jersey Department of Law and Public Safety, Division of Administration for the Edward Byrne Memorial Grant, amount not to exceed $86,990.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Coursey, second by Commissioner Kern. Any discussion on this? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. I'll entertain a motion to combine and adopt resolutions 291 to 297, our chapter 159.
So moved.
Commissioner Parker, second by Commissioner Coursey. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey? Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Please read 298.
Professional services agreement with Marsh & McLennan Agency Limited Liability Company for review of the county's 457B deferred compensation plan, amount not to exceed $28,500.
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Coursey.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Commissioner Ballas?
Yeah, I guess to Jerry or Jim.
Bonnie.
Or Bonnie. What does this review entail?
So the last time we did the review was in 2017. And what the vendor did was they came in and they reviewed our investments that the committee had selected, make sure that we provide a various amount of different types of investments for our employees. And they also saved us fees that we were paying to Empower. So they'll come in and they'll take a look at the fee schedule. Empower is the company that actually administers our deferred comp plan. So they'll come in, they'll take a look at their fees, make sure that we're paying a fair amount of fees. And just make sure overall that fiduciarily we're being responsive and making sure that the plan is running smoothly.
Okay. That's not taken care of in our audit?
That is not,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Actually, the deferred comp plan isn't part of our audit. It's a benefit plan.
Right, because is for the employees.
Commissioner Bertino?
Just one quick question. Now, how many employees are participating in the deferred comp plan?
Wow.
Generally, I'm not gonna hold you.
I think about 250.
Okay.
About 50%, more 50%.
What percentage of employees is that?
It's not quite 50%. And we actually have retirees that still have funding in the fund. They can leave it there, they can take it out and, move it somewhere else.
It's definitely the right thing to do from an investment standpoint, because besides the regulations and the administration of the plan, we need to have a check on Empower that they're charging the roundabout fees as well. So that's very important.
It's very hard to convince younger type employees
I know.
to invest. I mean, it is. I mean, I remember I would go to orientations and suggest people look at that. I mean, I remember myself, when I started. It's very important because it does. I mean, if you, depending on how you invest and if you get some advice and things like that, it can be very profitable for you as you get older.
No question about it. When I got out of high school in 1974, the Dow Jones was 600. Look at it today. Anyway, thank you. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Please read number 299.
Amending Resolution Number 258 adopted on May 17, 2022, a professional services agreement with Colliers Engineering and Design Incorporated for material testing services to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Coursey, second by Commissioner Kern. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read Resolution 300.
Amending Resolution Number 468 adopted on September 7, 2021, a professional services agreement with Remington and Burning Engineers for district mapping and related services to extend the term date only, no additional cost.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Ballas, second by Commissioner Days. Any discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Please read 301.
Intergovernmental Services Agreement with Rutgers University School of Dental Medicine for the provision of dental services for Atlantic County residents at the J.H. Cronin Dental Center and the University Dental Center, amount not to exceed $107,500.
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Coursey, second by Commissioner Bertino. Any discussion? Yes, Jerry?
Just one question. Dr. Jill York is the director for their Rutgers University, their extramural dental programs. She's on vacation. She's at Borgata. I called her yesterday. Didn't know she was there. She told me she'll give me all the data that they have, and I'll get it to you when she's back in the office. Okay.
I was inquiring as to the
Yeah.
participation at our dental center, there, the Cronin Dental Center. Thank you, Jerry. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? Please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Please read 302.
Subgrant agreement with the City of Atlantic City for the Childhood Lead Exposure Prevention Program project, amount not to exceed $70,500.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Parker. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 303.
Amending Resolution Number 571 adopted on October 18, 2022, a memorandum of understanding with the Atlantic County Improvement Authority to engage professional grant writing and implementation services for county projects and activities. Net increase $15,000.
Moved by Commissioner Parker, second by Commissioner Corsi. Discussion. Public comment. Hearing none. Call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes, please read 305.
Intergovernmental agreement with Cape Atlantic Soil Conservation District to provide technical assistance on water and soil conservation matters, amount not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Any discussion? As said, all these items were discussed in our budget committee. Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes, please read 306.
Online access agreement with the New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission for the purpose of researching vehicle records online, amount not to exceed $750.
By Commissioner Corsi,
Second.
second by Commissioner Days. Discussion? Sorry, moved by, second by Commissioner Bertino. That's from the side. Any discussion? Any public comment? Please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes, please read 307.
Intergovernmental sub-grant agreements with various Atlantic County municipalities for drug and alcohol education and prevention services, amount not to exceed $188,811.
Second.
Commissioner Corsi, second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes. Please read 308.
Resolution authorizing the sale of obsolete vehicles and equipment through an online auction, revenue generating.
Motion.
By Commissioner Days, second by Commissioner Ballas. Discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? Please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes. Please read 309.
Shared Services Agreement with the Atlantic County Economic Alliance and the South Jersey Transportation Authority for concept development of transportation infrastructure improvements, no cost.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Parker, second by Commissioner Days. Discussion? Hearing none. Any public comment? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes. Please read 310.
Shared Services Agreement with the City of Ventnor to broadcast brine on county roads on Absecon Island, amount not to exceed $12,500.
Second by Commissioner Ballas, second by Commissioner Bertino. Any discussion? At least we don't need the brine right now. Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes. Please read 311.
Alternate method contract with Initium Softworks Limited Liability Company to doing business as MTS Software Solutions Incorporated to provide maintenance service for the DocuWare imaging proprietary software, amount not to exceed $31,441.74.
Moved.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Ballas. Discussion? Any public comment? Please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Corsi?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley.
Yes. Please read 312.
Interlocal Services Agreement with the City of Summers Point concerning proposed reconstruction and jurisdictional control of proposed improvements along the Summers Point Linwood Bike Path at the crossing of Ocean Heights Avenue, County Route 559, no cost.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kern, second by Commissioner Parker. This is something we're all happy to see. Commissioner Ballas?
Yes, Chairman, can we just get an update as to what
Sure.
the improvements are going to be?
Jerry?
at our-
Sure, sure. I mean, we went through them. I don't know if anybody on the budget task force, but yes, I mean, I'll ask Renee to go through them if you want.
Okay.
Renee, you there?
Hi, yes, good afternoon. The city has secured $165,000 in congestion management and air quality funding for all different types of improvements along the bike path, including flashing beacons at various crosswalks, pedestrian bicycle counters, bicycle repair stands, bike racks and benches. So this particular agreement allows the city to install what are called the RRFBs, which are the rectangular rapid flashing beacons at this crossing. So the city will install them and then the county will be responsible for maintenance moving forward.
And they have the chicanes, right? Is that right, Renee?
They, yes,
Okay.
there will also be chicanes on the Summers Point side, and one portion of the chicane will be in the county right-of-way, but the city will maintain responsibility for the maintenance of that moving forward.
So why don't you just go through it? Chicanes prevent a bicyclist from just going straight on through, right? They just can't go flying.
It almost looks like they're offset barriers, for lack of a better explanation. You would see, you would see maybe 2 or 3 of them where the person on the bike would actually have to physically get off the bike to maneuver around the chicanes to be able to cross the road.
So if you remember, the young boy that was hit at that intersection just drove straight through. He didn't
Yep.
stop or anything, so that would prevent.
Yeah, it makes sense. So for those who don't know, they're basically, if you've ever seen that at the 177th, before you
Right.
come to the guard check, it's the
Right.
same type of thing, where you can't just drive straight
Exactly.
through.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Any public comment? If not, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick? Yes. Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes, please read 313.
Local consent agreement with the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness through the federal fiscal year 22 state and local cybersecurity grant program for the provision of cybersecurity hardware, software, and/or services in lieu of funds, no cost.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Ballas, second by Commissioner Parker. Discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Please read 314.
Resolution authorizing the establishment of additional funds for the payment of legal fees associated with the continuing representation of the county in the pilot litigation, amount not to exceed $300,000.
Motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ballas, Commissioner, and second by Commissioner Kern. Discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I missed the budget meeting yesterday, through you to Jerry or to Bonnie. So what
Jim.
was our original dollar amount?
Jim will go through that if you'd like. He'll go through the.
This goes back as far as 2017. We engaged when the first pilot was passed, and the county believed that was unconstitutional, and we engaged the services of the McElroy Deutsch Mulvaney firm from Morristown, New Jersey. The attorney from that firm of counsel, Ron Riccio, has been the one working on this. We appropriated back at that time by a resolution in 2017 the amount of $500,000. Suit was filed in that case. We had some conferences, and eventually a settlement conference was held with then assignment judge Julio Mendez, which resulted in a consent order for settlement, which was actually entered of record, I believe it was June 18th of 2018. We expended up to that point
approximately $260,000 with the law firm. There was $240,000 left over. We proceeded under the consent order for a couple of years until in the latter part of 2021, the legislature saw fit to pass amendments to the pilot, which we believe significantly changed the amounts that the county would get because of various changes to gross gaming revenue, the way that was defined, and what was included in it. And as a result, we believed that the county would be significantly shortchanged as a result of those legislative changes, and we engaged the law firm again to come in. We had hoped that we could reach a resolution with the state and have the legislature, in fact, Mr. Ricchio's firm even proposed an amendment to the legislation before it was voted on, which would have carved out the county's consent order. That was ignored by officials at the state, including the governor, who wouldn't even respond to a letter that he received from the county executive and a letter that his chief counsel received from Mr. Ricchio's office, telling them that we would like to sit down and discuss an accommodation of that. They plowed ahead. The legislature passed the legislation a couple days before Christmas at midnight, and the governor signed it the next morning, ignoring an order to show cause that was filed seeking a restraining order. Fast forward, we came before the Board of Commissioners to seek additional funding for that second round of litigation. The reason we have been coming back to you at various intervals is because this has been prolonged and drawn out. The matter was first heard by Judge Marzak. The order to show cause was signed. He set a return date, which was in, I believe it was February of last year. Mr. Ricchio argued that case. I was present for the arguments. And several weeks after hearing arguments, Judge Marzak rendered, I believe it was a 35 or 36 page decision finding in favor of the county. Now, I'm saying all of this because I want to give context to why we're here and why this thing has dragged on so long. When we filed the initial lawsuit and filed the papers, well, this went essentially as a motion. The county submitted detailed certifications from the county executive, from Jerry Del Rosso, and we were very, very comprehensive in what we submitted to the court. The court decides a case not only on the law but on the factual record that's made before it, and that it can consist of testimony, or in this case, affidavits or certifications, which were put before the court with various exhibits, and they were detailed. The state put forth almost nothing. They filed an opposition brief basically saying, hey, we're the sovereign, we're the state sovereign, we can do whatever we want. We said, no, you can't. Judge Marzak agreed with us, and he was very, very direct in referencing the factual record that had been made. State was unhappy with that, and they filed a motion for reconsideration. Now, there's only a couple ways you get a motion, you prevail on a motion for reconsideration. Either the judge was patently wrong in the law that he cited or his interpretation of the law, or there was some piece of evidence or some information that was overlooked and was brought forward later. The state filed that motion. Mr. Ricchio and his firm opposed that motion, and there was argument on it. I can tell you the state put forth almost nothing new than what was in their prior argument. Because Judge Marzak, during the intervening time frame, had been elevated to the appellate division of Superior Court, and Judge Blee was now the new assignment judge because Judge Mendez retired March 1 of 2022. Judge Blee was named the new assignment judge by the Chief Justice, And Judge Blee then took the case and decided the motion for reconsideration, and he upheld everything that Judge Marzak had done in another detailed opinion. The state, and we were also given the right to come forward to make an application for attorney's fees because it was a finding that the state had ignored the terms of the consent order. Now, in a case like this, it's unusual. There are certain cases where you can get fees due to what's in state statute, like if somebody prevails under the law against discrimination, they have the right to come forward and ask for counsel fees. But in a case such as this, we argued that due to the fact that there had been the violation of the consent order, Mr. Riccio and his firm, I thought, just did an outstanding job in briefing the law and convincing the court. And we actually had another hearing on that where there were more briefs filed, more opposition from the state. Judge Blee granted that application. Then the state filed a motion to stay. That was initially denied by the trial court. They then appealed to the appellate division. The point I'm getting at is that, you know, this thing has had numerous briefs filed, numerous court appearances, and those fees add up. I mean, Mr. Riccio is an excellent attorney. I think I've told this board before, in my almost 43 years now of practicing law in this state, I have never worked with a finer attorney than Mr. Riccio. I mean, he's just a brilliant guy, brilliant writer, brilliant on his feet arguing a case. And but his services don't come cheaply. You know, he bills at the rate of he bills us at the rate of $450 an hour, as well as one of the other attorneys who works with him. If we were a private entity and be represented by him, that per hour rate would be much higher. But we are getting, if you can call $450 an hour a break, I mean, that's what these guys at these high-powered firms get. I mean, that's the cost of doing business. With what's at stake in this case, we've had internal discussions, and both the executive, Jerry, and myself believe that this is money well spent. We have no choice. We've tried to make overtures about sitting down and resolving this. This case should be resolved, but the state has rebuffed us at every turn, and so we're forced to go the route. And we are currently in the appellate division. The matter's been briefed, but a source that I spoke to recently, I won't say who that is, but indicated that the earliest we could expect to have oral argument would be in the fall, sometime between September and November of this year. Then you got to realize that the court hears the case, you don't get a decision the next day or even the next week or next month. It could be, 5, 6, 7 months before a decision is rendered. And I can, tell you that it's my best estimate, based on what the state has done thus far, that if they lose again, or if we lose for the first time, that we would then, either side, whoever loses, will petition to file a petition for certification to the New Jersey Supreme Court. Now, if the case is decided in the appellate division and the decision is unanimous, then the party that loses has to file a petition for certification, which means you have to ask the court to agree to take the case. The New Jersey Supreme Court, much like the United States Supreme Court, hears a limited number of cases. So you have to show that it's a matter of significant public interest in order to get them to take the case. This obviously would be, I have no doubt. The way you get there without that is if a decision is reached by the appellate judges where it's a 2-to-1 split. If there's a dissenting opinion by one of the judges, then the losing party has an automatic right of appeal. But, I'm saying all this because that shows that we're far from the end of the line in this case. And my prediction is we probably would not have a decision out of the appellate court until the early part of next year. And then if we go the route into the, where the case goes to the Supreme Court, it's likely to be sometime in calendar year 2025 before this case is resolved. So it's got a long way to go. And that's the reason why I'm back here. You know, I wish I had better news on this front, but, you know, unfortunately we don't. Maybe at some point along the line, cooler heads will prevail and we will be able to sit down and resolve this, but I wouldn't bank on that at this point based on the state's past conduct. So that's my report.
So for 22 and 23, it's roughly, I mean, the significance of the case for the taxpayer is $10 million, roughly.
Yeah.
9.4 million, the actual number, based on the gross gaming revenues and what prior to the consent order, or prior to the amendment, whatever the consent order said, that's what we're basing what they owe the county.
Okay.
First of all, once again, thank you. I didn't need that long dissertation because nothing's really changed.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to know what was the original contract.
Right.
I'm not even disputing or arguing. I get where you're going.
Right.
15-minute dissertation. You thought you were before the Supreme Court, apparently, arguing your case.
I was trying to make Mr. Reynolds look good.
And I understand exactly where you're going and what you speak. I was just trying to figure out what was the original contract, and you answered it in the beginning. It was 500. We had about 240 left over.
Right.
So you think this 300 get us to 220, 25?
Yeah, it should.
But wasn't there a middle,
There was
another appropriation of like 450?
Yeah, there was. There was. And
Was
we.
it 4 or 450?
Now, here's the thing. I had thought that the unused money from the resolution that was passed in 2017 was automatically brought over. I was advised by our purchasing agent that it wasn't. Because she said when you went back and filed the next resolution, you didn't reference the specific number to the prior resolution. I mentioned the prior resolution. She didn't think that was enough. I wasn't going to go into a big argument about it. I thought, well, you know, we'll come here and I'll make another appearance and do what I need to do. Yeah, we essentially started out brand new in the latter part of 2021, early part of 2022 when we first came before you. And that prior amount of money was never touched. But it has to be now.
So again, and my conclusion of my comment was, I get what you're saying. I understand there's a lot at stake on both sides of the aisle. I get it. And listen, I agree with you. I spoke to some of my sources in the state. It looked like there's no ending in sight no time soon. I get it. But your job is to protect this county and the residents. I wish it was an easier solution myself. At the end of the day, let me be very clear, Atlantic City is still going to make out no matter what happens with either side of the argument. This is probably the first time Atlantic City is going to probably reap some of the benefits of the pilot bill in a significant number, if it doesn't change very much. So there's a lot at stake, and I get it. I was just curious to find out how much we already spent, how much was left, and you asked for additional 300 on the 240. So my question's really been answered. But I didn't need that long dissertation. That's what happens when you don't make it to the budget meeting.
We're not going to talk about
I was shorter yesterday with the budget committee.
I'm sorry?
I was a lot shorter yesterday with the budget committee.
No, I was referring to myself.
Oh, no.
For not being there.
No. Well,
Would anyone else like to comment? I certainly appreciate your dissertation, Mr. Ferguson, because I think it's important to get it out there, to get it on the record for the public to understand what's at stake here and why we're doing it. And, you know, we've been shortchanged, we've been upheld a number of times. As far as I'm concerned, John Risley's opinion, I think it's disgraceful what the state's done. absolutely disgraceful. They have caused the taxpayers of Atlantic County to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. And they went out and hired their own law firm instead of using their own attorneys. They went out and hired their own law firm. So they must have spent almost as much as we've spent in this deal. And that's where the insanity is. And the governor and the legislature not willing to fashion a remedy to this, it's just disgraceful. And that's really all I have to say about it.
And we believe, I personally believe, and Mr. Riccio believes, that there's a way this case could be settled without the state putting up a dime of the state money, by getting the stakeholders who really benefit from this new legislation, and that's the casinos, to come to the table and put money up. And it wouldn't cost that much to resolve this case, and the taxpayers would have, because they're the ones, the casinos properties are the ones that are making out like bandits under this new legislation. They truly are. They truly are.
So I wasn't gonna say nothing else, but and then you open up another damn can of worms.
Well, I don't care.
No, follow. Oh, you care. Don't tell me you don't care, because you care.
Well,
The fact of the matter is, if that's the argument, the governing body ought to be petitioning the Casino Association to argue the case. I'm not saying you're wrong. If they reap the benefits, all these brains up here, they send a resolution to the Casino Association asking them to join in. Since they reap the benefits, right? You care about that, right? You do care, don't you?
I do. No, I
You
do.
know, Corsi cares, Ferguson cares, we care.
What I care about is to see this matter resolved in a way that's fair to the taxpayers of this county. That's ultimately what my job is, you know.
And I didn't take that certainly insult that you didn't care, but I'm just saying,
No.
if you believe in your heart that the Casino Association gets to reap the bulk of the benefits, have the governing body pass it, send it to them. They may not do nothing, but hell, you send them one. Ask them to join in.
That's where some pressure has to be brought to bear by the people up in Trenton. But
I looked at their last numbers, they ain't hurting.
No,
They're not.
Ain't hurting.
cost you more money, but they're not hurt.
Okay.
Good report, Mr. First.
Thank you.
Because you care.
I do.
All right. Any other discussion? Any public comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
yes,
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Okay, we have one resolution for appointments, number 315.
Reappointment of Vincent J. Jones III, Stan Carr, Jim Eden, Michael Fedorko, and Patrick F. Snyder to the Atlantic County Emergency Management Advisory Board for a term to expire on May 1st, 2024.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Coursey, second by Commissioner Ballas. Discussion. The discussion I have is as a board, we thank them for their service to the county. Grateful. Any public comment? Please call the roll.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
yes,
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. We have 3 roadway solicitations, 316 and 318. Entertain a motion to combine and adopt these. Moved by Commissioner Coursey, second by Commissioner Kern. Any discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, roll call.
Ballas?
Yes.
Bertino?
Yes.
Coursey?
Yes.
Days?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Gatto?
yes,
Kern?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Risley?
Yes. Okay, would anyone like to give a report on any committee? Mr. Martino?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to give a report on the Solid Waste Advisory Committee was passed a few months ago to answer some questions that we received from the Mayor's Association and some various members of the public. That committee met and took all those questions. We sent questions to the ACUA, responses came back. The final report is completed. You commissioners were all sent a copy of that final report recently, And I just wanted to let you know, it's a matter of public record. If anyone wants to see it, it's on file, the details, because it's pretty voluminous. As those in the committee, we know we got a lot of papers to read. That's on file here in the clerk's office. So the report's completed, the conclusions are there, and the responses are there.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else want to give a report? Commissioner Kern?
I just want to make note that the NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, as well as Brian Wilson was very instrumental in putting together the mental health first aid class. It's a national class that's put on. I got recertified for the third time. It's for 3 years, but it's I think a number of people within the county, I think I saw some people from Human Resources on as well. It was very well done, and I thank Brian for putting that together.
Thank you. Anyone else? No further comments on committees? We'll move into unfinished business. Anybody have any items of unfinished business? Now we'll move into new business. Topics of new business. The only thing I'd like to mention is we had a very successful, as we always do, our Memorial Day by the county, and the park was beautiful and doing a great job. I'd like to put together an idea here, Jerry, for next year, that we would arrange to have our Veterans Museum open on that day. I think that'd be very appropriate. There's a lot of folks in this county that never seen or don't know anything about our Veterans Museum. I think that'd be a great day to show it off if we could have someone there and open the Veterans Museum on our Memorial Day service. Okay. After the service is over, they can go over and visit and complete the day that way. Thank you.
Chair, I'll
Yes.
just mention really briefly that pet adoptions at the animal shelter from June 7th to September 6th, the fees will be waived again. So for anyone out there that is looking for a companion, now will be a good time. The fee is normally $110 and they are waiving the fees.
Anyone else under new business? All right. Any written communications, petitions to be considered? Yeah, Mr. Days.
I think we were all sent a copy of the letter that the Mayor Brigantine sent to the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management asking for an extension in the public comment period on the Atlantic Shores offshore wind project. The draft environmental impact study is over 6,000 pages in length. He's basically heard from multiple thousands of city residents, along with some of our other shore towns, that it's just not enough time for the 45-day public comment period isn't enough time for people to go through the 6,000 pages of the impact study. He's asking for at least a 90-day extension to that. I'll reach out to him and see what he would like us to do to represent the shore towns and the other towns whose impact will be impacted, along the bays and other areas. He wants a resolution of his board or a letter from the chairman and other members. But I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the commissioners and the public, that we will be taking further action, at least I will be, to follow up on that letter from the Mayor Brigantine.
We just got it today, so we'll have to digest that. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just a quick comment. Last week, I think it was, we received some news from Hamilton Township. They served as the lead agency in an application, a grant application to NJDOT with regard to the Mays Landing Bikeway, which people probably know as the trestle in Mays Landing. And they did receive a $1.5 million grant as part of the Transportation Set-Aside program for that project, which is great news. So I did reach out to Jerry and ask that we meet with them, make sure we're partnering with them as much as we need to help bring that project to realization. And I'm hoping we'll even maybe discuss that in our next Roads and Bridges committee meeting as well. But I did want to highlight the work that they did in obtaining that 1.5 million.
That's great. Thank you, Commissioner Gatto. That's great news. Thank you.
We'll definitely also be speaking about it in Parks and Environment as well. So there's quite a few people that are engaged in this project.
Good. Anything else before we move into public comments? I'd just like to mention too that I attended the last meeting of the Southern New Jersey County Commissioners Association, which Karen is the chair, and I would certainly encourage my other colleagues on the board to come out to a meeting once in a while, and they're very informative. I really enjoy attending them when I can, and you learn a lot about what other counties are doing, and you pick up ideas. So there's always a nice presentation by someone, and it's time well spent.
This month's meeting is in Seattle. So it's close by.
There you go. Ms. Wick?
Seattle.
Seattle. And Mike?
Maybe.
Here.
It used to be Marie's, but it's not.
Who?
Warehouse.
Used to be the lobster law. Used to be the lobster law.
Not Mike's.
Not Mike's. Warehouse.
All right, Mr. Chair, I will take a step back and say I did attend the ACUA's meeting, and there were 3 major topics of discussion that they discussed in the last meeting. One of them was getting pre-approval from the administration for putting out to bid for the commodities. Another major topic was shared services. They have 7 shared service contracts throughout the county. And the third order of business they discussed last month was about the maintenance and engineering and the contracts that were awarded through that department. So those are the 3 major things that were discussed at their meeting. We did have a little bit of brief time. I did ask the body, I said, it was their understanding for my reason for being there, and there was a little bit of confusion. We had to go around the table a little bit, and some folks were not exactly thrilled about my presence, and I had to tell them, I said, listen, I'm not here. There's no one on the commissioner's board that doesn't believe that they're doing a professional job, and we're not here to, look into their closets or anything of that nature. We want to be able to, this is a very important topic that affects the entire county. We want to make sure that we're bringing the right information back. So I think once the meeting ended, they understood that I'm looking for this to be a working relationship, much like you heard Prosecutor Reynolds talk about a working relationship between us and the ACUA. And if there are any major topics, and I think you told me, if there are any major topics that you want me to bring back to this board, put it together.
Right.
That way I'm speaking through them, pretty much for them at this meeting. And if there are any questions that this board has, then I'll bring those back to their meeting. And we can keep we can pretty much keep it that simple. And so I think they were pretty happy about it by the time I was leaving the meeting, even though they weren't exactly happy to see me come into the meeting, some of them. And so I'm looking forward to the relationship moving forward. So if there are any questions that anyone has with the ACUA board, just give me a call or shoot me an email before their meeting, and I'll make sure that I speak for the entire Commissioners Board, not just for myself.
Thank you.
Well, I still have the con if I can. It's June, so I'll put some awareness out there. June month has a lot of awareness. It's bringing a lot of awareness to a lot of different topics. LGBTQ plus Pride Month, PTSD awareness, gun violence, Alzheimer's and brain awareness, immigrant heritage, and also, one that's near and dear to my heart for obvious reasons, it's also Vitiligo Awareness Month. So, for those that don't know, my students say that I'm a cheetah. And that's their joke because of you know, vitiligo that I have with my skin being different colors and turning different colors. So I know that there's a lot of folks out there that suffer from vitiligo, and it's tough. There's a young man in my school who has vitiligo, and he really struggles with it because at a young age, when you know, you can imagine kids are pretty mean.
Yes, they're very mean.
At that age. Now, I was blessed that, you know, I've only had it now that I know of for the past maybe 7 years. I was well into my adult years. So, you know, it's much harder to watch a kid struggle through it going through school, you know, and every day you wake up, you never know what's going to happen. You know, your skin color could turn back to the original color, or it can go back to, you just never know. You know, you gotta wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and go, oh wow, so that's what I look like today. so that, for those who don't know, that could be extremely nerve-wracking. It could cause a lot of anxiety, and so I just want to bring awareness to it. The good news is there seems to be a lot more being done in terms of the medical field with vitiligo, so there's a lot more success in terms of, you know, being able to treat it. It is an autoimmune. It's not a cosmetic condition. It's an autoimmune condition. So the medical practice now is learning to look at it as that and treat it as that, and then by doing that, we're starting to see some improvements. So for all those folks out there, I just like to try to shine a little light on it because I know how much they struggle. There are people out there that are struggling with it. So just trying to give them, you know, show them that they can do it and love the skin you're in and those type of things. And, you know, and listen, what better time than now to put that message out there, you know, not to judge a person by the color of their skin, whether, even if it is both colors, you know, but just to judge them by the content of their character and the type of person that they are. So that's my spiel for the June month.
Commissioner Kern?
I think you missed a couple. June is National Safety Month, and June is also Men's Health Month.
Men's Health?
Men's Health Month. So we should encourage all the men in our lives, you know, to you know, look out for their health all the time.
We're not always good at that.
And I do apologize. I should have asked for this earlier, but you feel it's a moment of silence since the anniversary of D-Day.
Anniversary. Yes, let's do a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Lost a lot of folks. Yes.
Mr. Chair, we also need to celebrate Juneteenth this month.
Yes.
Oh.
So let's start with Phil. So this may have already been resolved. I'm not sure. I just saw it in my desk today. We received this letter, I guess we all did, from Nestor Smith, an attorney, reference to the Principal Academy. Has anything been done, or is the county aware of this? I mean, everybody's aware of it. Yeah, they're asking us for our opinion, but we really don't have an opinion.
We got an opinion in that county. We got
Well, as a board, they're waiting to hear from us.
I don't know why we would get involved in that.
Right, I'm saying, county council, this is, Board of Education.
We have to lean on our council here.
You guys, are you involved?
I've saw
Have you
the-
seen the letter?
No, yes, I have seen the letter.
Okay.
We're frankly not involved because that's a matter that would go to the Commissioner of Education of the state of New Jersey.
Correct.
Handles that, has jurisdiction over that. There's no jurisdiction for the county in this. I mean, you know, he raises some very valid points, I think, in the letter, things that need to be looked into. It's just, you know, this body and the county doesn't have the means nor the jurisdictional authority to do that.
The letter reads as if it was just sent to the wrong commission. You know, like
That's what I'm wondering. I'm
That's
wondering,
what it seems to suggest.
will somebody, or can somebody answer him from the legal side? That it has nothing to do with us. I mean, what we're saying here, I'm sure that he's not sitting there listening to us, but, you know, we got a communication from an attorney, just wondering whether either our attorney or our attorney, somebody can point him in the right direction
let Rick and I collaborate
We
on
can
that.
talk about reaching out to them
We
for
can
sure.
do that.
We don't pump no money into, I mean, we got county kids going there, but we don't put no money into the
Right.
facility.
But
We don't-
exactly,
We
but-
don't hire,
but
we don't fire, we don't do anything.
Right, but it will affect residents of this county who go there and may not be able to go there, from what I'm reading,
I think Mr. Ferguson hit the nail on the head. That's the Commissioner of Education in the state of New Jersey.
Exactly.
And that's an indictment, and this attorney, he's a astute attorney, you know that.
Yeah, I just don't want, being as addressed to all of us, I don't want to just ignore it.
I agree that we have no purview on this situation, but it does mention the Atlanta County Department of Education, which more than, I don't know how many times I've heard people ask if that's a county department, and it's not. It's a state department that's based here in Atlanta County to oversee education in Atlanta County. And I think, I'm not saying that, Mr. Smith, he grew up in Galloway Township at the Galloway schools, that may or may not be aware of that, but I think that might be part of the confusion as well. That it says Atlanta County Department of Education, even though it's not under our purview, it's a state entity, so.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Don't funds follow the child when they go to charter school?
Yes.
Okay. So our taxpayer dollars are funding that school?
Yes.
But it's a state investigation through the Attorney General's office of some alleged illegal,
I
clandestine, esoteric, mundane, deranged, decadent stuff that took place perhaps. And so the...
I read that story.
No, I'm just saying, what happens is, it's under the state Department of Education, not the county. My wife gets the same call because she's the county superintendent, but it's still under the state.
Correct, state.
New Jersey. A commissioner has to make the call.
Any other comments before we open the meeting to the public?
Mr. Chairman, just a reminder that ACIT's groundbreaking is coming up. And actually, graduation too, but the groundbreaking is coming up.
Looking forward to the groundbreaking, sure.
The ninth.
Friday the 9th.
The ninth, right?
Anything else?
All right.
I'll open the meeting to the public now. If anyone would like to speak, now's your opportunity. Do we have anybody online who'd like to speak? Not?
Chairman, is it mind if I just
Go right ahead.
keep my dissertation below 15 minutes for you? But I just wanted to reintroduce myself. Thank Commissioner Parker for coming out to our meeting the last month. A little hazing, I think, in the beginning from our chairman. I think it's just a matter of just lack of communication. And it was a delight to actually have Commissioner Parker at our meeting, because I think that is going to open up communication. And that's kind of why I'm here. I've been attending a lot of your meetings online. I knew there were some reports by Commissioner Bertino last month or last meeting, and also Commissioner Parker was going to do a report, so I just want to make sure I was here as well. Call me old-fashioned, but I think communication is a little better in person than it is online.
Yes.
So I wanted to be here just in case there were questions that came up. And my goal moving forward is to be a familiar face. We go to a lot of events. I've worked with some of you already. I've introduced myself. If I see you out now, I'll try to make sure that I approach you and again, just create some kind of relationship with us. We are an integral part of the county. You are an integral part of our success as well. So I'm looking forward to working with everybody and opening up that communication again, so we don't have to send Commissioner Bertino a stack of responses this big. We can have a conversation and understand exactly what you guys are looking for, what kind of information you are, or what kind of information you're looking for. And we don't have to just, we don't want to say yes or no answers. We want to be able to give you the information you're looking for. So opening up dialogue, communication. If there's information you need from us, please reach out before the end of the meeting. If you need my contact, if you don't have it already, please, take it. And again, if people are contacting you about anything on solid waste, wastewater, recycling, please reach out to us. We were designated in 1981 to handle that in Atlantic County. So the first person you want to go to when you have a health issue is your expert doctor. So come to us. We'll try to help, educate everyone. I know Maureen Kern, Commissioner Kern, Chairwoman Kern at the time, and Commissioner Bertino, we had met, I think it was April 22nd of last year, kind of go over some of that stuff too. So we have that relationship. I'm looking to kind of, continue that and increase communication if we can. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just one
Why
quick
you
one.
always go to that side of the room when I ask?
No.
Hey, this isn't esoteric or anything like that.
I just figured that. I was just wondering. I think when we had discussed this one, I think a while ago in the Solid Waste Committee too, that there's a lot that ACUA's been doing, because a lot of the questions come up that we get as commissioners is, what are you guys doing in 5 years? What are we gonna do in a landfill closes? How much is it? And I think it's hard for somebody that isn't, I'm kind of a little bit in the business, so, you know, I see the different technologies that emerge every day. So when you're looking at, and I think this is a good chance and opportunity maybe to come in and just give the general review, similar to the one you guys gave at SWAC, because it was really obviously accurate, because you just can't make decisions when you're looking at what you're going to do with your trash in perpetuity, because the market and the technology is changing dramatically month to month.
Right.
And there's some facilities out west. I looked out in Oregon. I looked at a couple of the ones out Washington State. Some of the ones with Georgia Pacific put in that are doing things a little different with their waste flow that they are already looking at. So, but no one knows that, and I think that might be an opportunity at least to get a little more information out to the public, because that's the big thing we always hear. What are we going to do? Well, I know you're looking, but I can't speak for you, and I think it's an opportunity, maybe if there are some questions that the other commissioners might have, you know, in a public meeting, it's the time for you guys to do that. So you might want to consider that at some time. Matt's been great. I know he knows the technology. I know he knows, he looks all day long at that stuff. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be different. It's landfilling was always, you dump it in the ground in your town, it's pretty cheap dumping at that place. But if you're looking to do different technologies that are available, everything you do will come with a cost, and it's going to cost some money at some point. How do you go? And I think it's important to keep that conversation with the ACUA going. It is changing.
Well, and I'd be happy to present what we did at SWAC as well. And I'm glad you said 5 years, because I know that everybody has a different idea on what the lifespan of our landfill is. It's actually 5.5 right now. So each year we get. So it changes, it does, and I'll tell you why. So this time last year, it was February 2028. Now it is January 2029. And why does it change? Because every year we get a third-party company that comes in. They fly a topo, third-party engineer. They do the analysis based off of how much waste that we dispose of each year, and then they forecast based off of an average. So that changes here and there. So right now we have 5.5 years. So if you've heard 3, if you heard 4, if you heard 1, if you heard whatever else, it's 5.5 years. It's January 2029 right now. If we do nothing, we have a hauling and disposal bid out right now. Again, it's just one of our options. So Commissioner Bertino spoke about technology. That's one option. We got to keep as many irons in the fire as possible. We can't rely on one source, because a technology that we've been hunting for 15 years may not happen, you know. But we have an RFQ that just went up to DCA, to the comptroller, for review today. That'll be back, or at least under review for we have a 30-day review on that. That'll go out again, another iron in the fire that we're working on to kind of keep that option available. The waste and hauling bid is due to open June 28th. That opens it up to anybody. So we've had everybody from Hainesport Transport download, ask questions, Waste Management, Republic, all the big players looking to take a portion of our waste. Again, just one of our options, but if they take a portion of our waste for the next 5 years, we go to 2033. So now we're talking 10 years, right? 5 years is a lot of time, 10 years is even more. We have several other options, again, help us stretch that a little bit if we need to. So yeah, trash is going to increase the cost of it wherever you're at. Whether you're using new technology, whether you're continuing to bury it in the ground, which again is an archaic way of getting rid of your waste, we got to find better ways to do that. So I'd be more than happy to elaborate on anything that you need, and you know, again, come to meetings, and again, just be here to communicate with you guys. So appreciate the time.
Appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I could have never explained that. No matter,
and
no
I
matter
will
how
say
good your summary
one last thing.
is.
Trash is complicated. It's not just, hey, pick it up, bury it in a hole, and be done with it. It is way more complicated. The regulation on it is way more complicated, and that's where we kind of come in. Well, this is what we live and breathe, you know, trash and wastewater. So fortunately, you guys don't have to worry about it as much. You know, put it out to the curb, disappears. There's been times where it doesn't go away right away. You know, maybe a day or two we get delayed depending on staffing issues, but for the most part, it goes away. You know, and it's out of sight, out of mind.
Mr. Mouse?
Oh, no, I said exactly what I was going to ask, some of that, not all of it.
So, Matt, just a quick question, maybe kind of like off the wall, but under your new leadership now, will the campaign, the Stop the Dump campaign, continue, or is that done?
So Stop the Dump is, in my mind, not really a campaign. We have to protect Atlantic County citizens, right? The ratepayers, the taxpayers, ultimately what we get charged, whether it's a township or another service coming into us. So am I going to be going out putting signs out? I don't think so. But you know what? At the end of the day, if it's saving Atlantic County ratepayers money because we're the lowest tip fee in the state and we're protecting the ratepayers, that's what I'm responsible for doing. You know, I'm responsible for protecting Atlantic County when it comes to solid waste, when it comes to wastewater. So maybe my tactic won't be putting stop the dump signs out, but I can't say that I'm going to be in favor of something that I see is going to be a detriment to the county when there are so many resources that are provided and people are only thinking short term and thinking about a quick fix or a quick dollar, you know. So I'm looking long term. That's my responsibility. Will I be putting signs out? Maybe not. Maybe I will. Maybe, but I don't think so. You know.
So a private business that wants to spend their money, not county money, to haul C&D away, a public entity will then spend money to fight that? Is that what you're saying?
Not fight it, but educate. So here's the challenge with it. If you have a private company coming in, there's a system, there's a solid waste system.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps thinking, let's just pull the C&D away, right? Let's just pull MSW away. Let's just pull recycling away. You have a complex system. It's not one thing. I will say collection contracts support themselves, but the landfill, the recycling that comes through, the C&D, the bulky waste, all that stuff is part of a system. You start pulling one of those things away, and now you're jeopardizing the system. And who's going to support that after you pull a portion of C&D away? The ratepayers, right? Who's going to support the household hazardous waste pickups? Who's going to support the recycling? Who's going to support the bulky waste? The mom and pops that want to come in, and now you have a private entity, one private entity, with no flow control, right? So they can charge whatever they want. So Commissioner Parker and I are good friends now, right? You get the special deal, right? Corsi, sorry, we're not friends. You know?
Well, I know that.
but you see what happens? There's a reason for government services, right? We are all public servants here. There's a reason for public services, and that's again to keep the best interest of Atlantic County taxpayers and ratepayers of the solid waste system intact. You have one person that comes in that wants to take that money and put it in their pocket, or one company, and who benefits from it? There's one business that benefits from it, and who are you taking the money from? Atlantic County ratepayers, right? So who benefits when that system doesn't work? And I'll tell you a quick story. So they could put it on a rail, they could send it wherever they want, but ultimately if something happens wherever that disposal site is, guess who's on the hook? If we go away, you're on the hook. If we don't go away, we're on the hook. 20 years ago, we had a household hazardous waste contractor that came in. We do 6 a year, right? It's free to every single town. We just had one last weekend. Every single town participated. Residents come in free. They can dump their, oils and batteries and whatever they may be. So about 20 years ago, we had a contractor, insurance, vetted out, was taking their stuff to Georgia. That site got contaminated. Who do you think is responsible for that? The contractor? Nope. Came back to us. Came back to the generator. So if you want to risk Atlantic County and the residents because somebody wants to make a quick dollar and has a scheme, that's up to you. But that's not a smart move in my opinion. So
I guess to answer that, I think, I'm sorry. You want to have something to say?
You don't really want me answering it, do you? Okay.
No, I think I should say something.
You answer him first.
I'll say it first, and then if I don't...
Don't let me answer. Gentlemen?
I think...
I'm going to go over my 15 minutes, though, so I just want to preview. If I go over my 15 minutes, I don't know.
I think
3 minutes.
Speak to, I don't want to speak for Commissioner Ballas, but I think what our concern is with that answer is that we find a way to educate the public without attacking the public. Because those people that are trying to open up a business still are, they're still paying taxes, and we're still accountable to those people, those small businesses. Whether good idea, bad idea, they're still taxpayers. So we also don't want, as a government entity, to attack private citizens.
I
So
agree.
that's where I think the gray line.
Yeah, I know, I 100% agree. I'm a small business owner myself.
It's a
I
slippery
100%
slope.
agree in some form of free enterprise, but there are certain services that have been designated for government to handle because of things like this, right? Solid waste being one of them. If you look at the county, I mean, if you look at the state, 3/4 of the state have flow control. Why? Because nobody remembers, including myself, because I was probably in diapers, but in the 70s and 80s and early 90s, of all the dumps that were located in New Jersey. All the dumps that were located in Atlantic County. How many? Price's Pit, right down the street from us. Pinelands Park. There was one in they're all over. Right? So now there's a responsible organization that is accountable to the county commissioners. We meet with Jerry every single week, or I'm sorry, every single month with our items. There's a presentation to every single one of the municipalities every single year about our rates and everything we go over. There's also a presentation to this board. And then there's accountability. If something goes awry with solid waste disposal in Atlantic County, who do you go to? What happens with that small business? Do you bring him in here? Right? When he jacks his rate up, now we'll talk about rates, we're the lowest in the state. When he jacks his rate up, who do you go to? We came, we responded, we went to the mayor's meeting. Who do you go to when it's private business?
If they check their rate
But I
up,
think
What do you?
contractors won't go to them.
And then where do they go?
They'll go to you.
You. But I think.
Not if they put us out of business.
Right. But I think what
Right.
you're saying
Not
is
if we're not there. You can't go to us.
If I'm hearing you right, the C&D basically helps offset and keep the price low for the other materials that come into your
Sure.
facility.
There's a subsidy
So
in
by
all
that
that.
coming out, that hurts.
There's a subsidy in all
HUA.
that. So and it's designed that way. So who gets the cheaper price? Who gets the cheaper price? You have C&D and you have MSW, right? There are two different rates. C&D is a higher rate for two reasons. One, you're keeping your ratepayer who's paying their municipal tonnage rate for the municipalities low. So taxes stay low because that's the biggest issue in New Jersey, right? Taxes, property taxes. So we're keeping that low. We're also increasing C&D because we want to incentivize recycling. We want to incentivize them pulling the wood out. The block that we charge, $8 a load. You can bring in a small pickup truck, or you can bring a tractor trailer load in. We're trying to incentivize those types of things, so that way you are putting less material in the landfill. But yeah, everyone's doing it. Cape May County's doing it. And that's why I'm saying it's a system. It's not. You can't just cherry pick one thing off of it. It's a complex solid waste, comprehensive system for the county. It's not just one service that we're providing. Commissioner Parker was at our meeting and he brought up shared services. There were 7 shared services on that one agenda. That's normal. That's every single, it's sweeping. We're doing sweeping in Hamilton. We're doing sweeping in Linwood. We just were awarded a collection contract in Linwood after we went out to bid for that. We do recycling everywhere. Their stormwater, pump station maintenance through EHT, Linwood. These are all part of a system and an organization that is supporting Atlantic County. And what are we doing at the end of the day? We're saving taxpayer dollars. You can call them ratepayers, you can call them taxpayers. At the end of the day, we're saving Atlantic County citizens taxpayer dollars who are spending the most amount in property taxes in the country. And if we don't get the bid for the collection contract, the recycling or the trash, we're providing competition. If you're the only guy going in to bid, are you going to bid fair? No, you're going to jack your price up. But if you know somebody else is coming in, we provide that service. We've done that several times. Here's a bid. Okay, well now the private sector they need to sharpen their pencil, right? And if they know nobody else is bidding that, okay, let me jack this up a little bit. What do I lose? Nobody else is here. So that's what we provide to so many different towns. And yes, if you take the C&D away, there's also what they call an REA tax. $3 a ton, every single ton that goes into our landfill goes to every single one of the towns. Goes back, it's a municipal grant, a municipal tonnage grant. Each year they come in, we help them out with it. They get $3 back for every single ton of trash. C&D, MSW, bulky waste, every town gets a credit back from the state. So again, my 15 minutes, I only had 3 minutes, but.
Well,
In all fairness, he only took 15, we took 5.
Right.
We extended it.
That information's better, that information's a better campaign
First of all,
than
Sure,
what was
sure.
going on. That's the
And we can have
information
an,
we
I don't
put
want to
out.
have a public conversation about this, but we can have an offline conversation, and that's what, you know, again, I've watched the meetings, you know, I've heard the comments, and I've heard the conversations of how much lifespan we have left, what we're doing, what's our reserve, what this may be, and there hasn't been a single conversation with us. There hasn't been a pick up the phone. There hasn't been, you know, you see at the League of Municipalities dinner, popping over, hey, you got a couple minutes to talk about this, you know? And that's where I think this is great that Commissioner Parker is a link now between us, that we can, you know, vet those things out. And then that way, in public, we aren't talking about the landfills, you know, doom and gloom, the landfill's gonna close in 3 years. It's not the case. It's not accurate. We're not going off the information that we should be going off of.
see the stuff you start? This is not supposed to be your
I was just gonna introduce myself. So.
What's your last name? What's your last name?
Donafo.
Who?
Donafo?
Not Reynolds?
Not Reynolds.
Oh.
Not Reynolds. Not Ferguson.
You came in for me. Thank you. You were ready to long. On a serious note, though, I hear you. I take exception to some of the stuff you said.
Sure. We don't have to agree on
I
everything.
definitely take exceptions to when you people say that people are scams.
Mhm.
I take offense to that. It could be anybody, mom and pop business, anybody. When you make those kind of statements, you got to be very careful.
Right.
People in business to do stuff, right? And you start to call them scams. You can't do that. I mean, you shouldn't do it. You do what you want. You grow.
So I've never said scam, but I again, we can agree to disagree. I get it, but I'm just saying I've never said scam. I'm just saying,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
What the?
and I appreciate you working with us too. We just purchased, you know, the CNG truck.
Oh, I'm not finished with y'all yet.
All right, okay, all right.
That's another sidebar story, but you beat me for that too.
All right. I'm on the stand now. So I'm getting Parker treatment from Redemption.
This is exactly how you treat it.
That's it though. No,
So on a serious note,
this is really good.
so finishing my statement was, I hear what you're saying. I'm not going to knock somebody else who want to come in and do business in other municipalities. You know the story about how Pleasantville wanted the transfer station is, and I agree with Commissioner over there. The signs are misleading. They scare people. They send the wrong message. Communications is the best thing.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way your predecessor and them did it. That's behind the scene. Whether it's the transfer station in Pleasantville or anywhere else, I think the best way to do something is to sit at the table, to agree to disagree, and not try to embarrass the next person because they're trying to make $1, right? If it's legal, it's right.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But the fact of the matter is that Commissioner Parker opened up a can of worms. I was surprised he even went to the meeting. But if this is the dialogue y'all had at the meeting, all day, don't come back next month.
Again,
but I think it's good, it's healthy, and it's a lot of good information. But I think that anybody who else wants to go into business has an opportunity. Listen, we all concerned what's going to happen 5 years from now, right?
Right.
We had this conversation with Rick. Nothing's changed.
Right.
Other than that, he told me 5.5 years, right? There's no real answers at this point. What's going to happen? I remember.
We'll agree to disagree, but okay.
But that's okay. We can agree to disagree. It don't have to be disagreeable, right? I'm from the old school. I'm going back to the Price landfill. That's where I used to dump trash, right? My dad had trash bin. So I know about the trash and the dumping and all. So not new to me.
Yeah.
But everybody in the public is not as educated on it as you are and some of my colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
And good information being out there, going to Civic Association meeting just to say hello, I'm here to present whatever the case. Going to the mayors is one thing, but if you don't talk to the people in the communities that trash and stuff is really coming from, they have no clue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
I
So I
agree.
think part of the campaign ought to be getting out to the communities, talking to civic groups, to give them an idea, to get some feedback. Not everybody cramming up in here, pointing their finger, saying we didn't do this, we didn't do that.
Right.
Y'all told us the rates was one thing, the next time you turn around, the Mayor's Association, they will complain that the rates were too high. Right? So there's a whole lot of give and take. But I didn't expect you to be here to make this long talk, but Parker opened the can of worms.
Right.
I like the opportunity to sit down. I'm going to do another visit to the site.
I appreciate that. I welcome that.
And we're going to have you in the community.
Yeah, I would love to. And like I said, I appreciate that
But we're
dialogue.
going to put a muzzle on you too.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Commissioner
Thank
Gatto wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just, kind of to echo Commissioner Corsi's, comments, I think the word that I heard used was scheme. And and to Commissioner Parker's point, we do not want to be talking ill or being, against any kind of business. The one that you're referencing or any other. Those are not the words that we should be using talking about private industry in Atlantic County. Especially when we need to be looking at every opportunity, whether it's something we do as government entities or public-private partnerships on any topic. So I definitely took offense to that word when I heard it, and I just would hope that we would be better going forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Gatto.
I want to apologize for that. Commissioner Ballas asked the question. There's been a lot of pent-up discussion behind the scenes, and Commissioner Gatto, I 100% agree with you. I apologize for offending anybody.
That's what I thought you said, but I
Yeah, no, that's not the idea. Is you go start a water company, you go start a gas company. No, it's a little bit different. But again, I apologize if I offended somebody on referring to a business. But the challenge.
Anyone else in the public sector would like to speak?
Thank you, guys.
All right. Anything for the good of the order? None, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.